Hey everybody, Invisiblekatana here. This is yet another episode of Storytime, and this one's actually going to be sort of a double episode because this is really late. Because I've mentioned this several times. I even mentioned it in like my birthday video that I've just been so far behind on stuff that I just haven't had the time to do certain videos. Specifically, Storytime videos, which I always end up having after a convention, and pretty much all of my gaming videos. I haven't filmed one in almost like a full month. I've uploaded recently some of the episodes I've finally been able to edit, but I haven't really been able to do any. So I'm combining these two episodes together because it'll just save time. And one of them I don't really have some of the stuff I wanted to talk about with me because it's at my house. It's something I bought. But I went to two conventions recently. One was Salt Lake City Comic Con, where I worked at, and the other, which was more recent, was New York City Comic Con. And that one I only did for 2 days, and then I was actually in town for the rest of last week, I believe it was. I'd have to actually check my calendar because I don't even remember. But for Salt Lake City Comic Con, it was pretty interesting. It was the first like Comic Con that I'd been to where it's in line with like New York Comic Con and San Diego Comic Con. It was the first time I'd ever done one of those, so that was pretty cool. I actually got some Comic Con exclusive stuff, which like I said, that's the kind of thing I don't have it with me because the stuff is at the house at this point. But I bought I bought three exclusive figures in total. I bought two like C3PO Funko Hikari figures. They're like inspired by Japanese vinyl, and both of those are, I believe, one of like 600 or something like that. And then I have a like Rainbow Bosk figure, which both of these are from Star Wars, if you don't know. C3PO, I think everyone knows, but Bosk is one of the assassins. He looks like a lizard, basically. But I have like a rainbow version of him, and it's like one out of 550, I believe, or something like that. And I bought those because I was like, I'm gonna buy like my first ever Comic Con exclusive items, and I was gonna sell them on eBay. And unfortunately, that hasn't worked so far. And I'm hoping that as we get closer to Episode 7 of Star Wars, that I can put them back up, and they might actually sell for some money. But they didn't really sell like I was hoping they would. But I still have them. I actually really enjoy them. The C3PO thing, I bought two because I thought those would sell more. But I was like, if I can't sell, both of them, I might keep one of the C3POs for myself because I actually think it looks pretty cool. But I got those. The convention itself was really huge. It was just like insane, all sorts of stuff. Like they had Funko themselves that were actually there. That's where I got the exclusive figures from. They had like giant, Funko looking figures, which was pretty cool. And there's all sorts of other crazy stuff. I saw like the Batmobile at Comic Con. I saw they had like this. There's some crazy like haunted house type of thing, and it was like a giant headless horseman setup where it was the headless horseman on an actual horse, and the horse would rear up like really high up in there. It was almost completely vertical. I was like, that's really cool. So that was pretty sweet. But my favorite thing that happened was I got to see the baby from Supernatural, which for anyone who doesn't watch Supernatural, Baby is the car, it's the Impala from Supernatural. So that was really awesome. I had no idea it was there. And I was walking through, because I always give my chance to like walk around to see like what am I going to get from the con. And I was walking around and I saw, it was a big crowd of people, and I saw some car. I was like, there's no way that's what I think it is. And so I kind of got through the people. I was like, it actually is. And it was the freaking car from Supernatural, which is my favorite show. So that had me incredibly excited. Like, that was so cool. I had no idea it was going to be there. And I got a couple of pictures of it, and it was just really sweet. And then when I went and I walked around, I'd gone past and I saw a couple of things. When I came back, they actually had the trunk open, so I was able to get a picture of the trunk as well. And I'll probably put a link, because I still haven't put like any of these pictures up, even though it's been like almost a month for the Salt Lake City one. Or I guess it's only been like it's almost been a month actually, because it was about 3 weeks ago, almost 4. But I haven't put like any of those up on Facebook yet. I put some up for my friends to see on our actual group page, but I didn't put them up on mine. So I'll probably put a link down below. I think I did put up the Salt Lake City stuff on my Facebook fan page. So I'll put a link to that page so you guys can go check out the pictures. I haven't put up anything from New York Comic Con. I only got like a couple of pictures there because unfortunately it was before the con started. But for Salt Lake City, that was like my favorite thing. I wanted to like how they were doing it. It was just the car, and none of the actors were there, and they were doing photo ops where you get two pictures. I think it was like $10. You get two pictures with the car. You couldn't get in the car, which I didn't know until like the end of the convention when we were like packing up and everything. The people who were driving the car around actually came by the booth, and they were mentioning stuff to us. And I wish, like, this is the worst thing that happened when we were working the final night of the convention. We worked the entire night, like all the way through. We worked from, I think the convention ended at like 5, and we stopped working about 5 p.m. the next day because there was so much stuff and there was only 3 of us. We were literally going through the whole night, and I had a chance. Like, I was like, I thought we would end earlier, and my idea was when we're leaving, the car was sitting out there. The Impala was just sitting on a flatbed, like there was just a truck carrying it, and I was like, while we're leaving, I was thinking of getting a picture, but it was dark. It was night. You wouldn't. It's a black car, in the middle of the night, so it wouldn't have been a great picture. But I was like, I'm gonna run my hand across this car when we're leaving, and we didn't, and I missed the car, and I was so upset that that happened because that was all I wanted. I was like, you know what? As crappy as it is working through the whole night, when we leave, because I honestly thought we were gonna leave at a reasonable time, I was like, I'm just gonna run my hand across the Impala, and like I touched it. I got to touch the baby, but unfortunately that did not happen. We were up, through the night. I was falling asleep standing up. I almost fell over. Like, I don't think that's ever happened. I was standing up, and I fell asleep like 3 separate times, and I would be standing, and I'd just go woo, and then I'd like have to hop back up. I never hit the ground, but I kept falling asleep, and eventually I just missed it. Like, everyone ended up coming back the next day, and I like asked the guy, I was like, is the Impala still out there? He was like, no, they drove it out, and I was like, crap, because I just wanted to touch the car, but unfortunately I missed that opportunity. I have it in my head now. I'm going to find it someday again, and I'm going to touch that car. But it was cool just getting to see it because I had no idea it was there. I was like, this is freaking sweet. So I did at least get to see baby. That was really awesome. Hated working through the whole night, and that just sucks, of course, in general. Literally up all night, and I hated that. I was just upset with that. It was annoying, but did that, and then I missed my flight coming back home from Salt Lake City. So I missed that flight because I didn't check in on time because we were up all night. So I didn't even like go on, like even through my phone. I didn't go on until we were like right after we finished. We went to eat because I was so hungry. I was like, I need something to eat before we go back to the room, and I didn't check in on my phone because it was like with Spirit, or it was with Frontier, and it's like, oh crap, I have to figure out because I bought those Funko figures. I was like, crap, I don't know how I'm gonna do this carry-on stuff because they charge you for carry-ons and it's like $30 or $40 a piece, and I was like, crap, I don't know how I'm gonna do this because I just have my I always have my backpack, and then I have like just a duffel bag, and all I do is just like stuff my clothes in it. So I just have like this tiny bag, and I don't ever have to check anything. And I was like, oh crap, how am I gonna do this? Because these things were big, and of course, with me wanting to sell them on eBay, I couldn't just shove them in there, without caution. So I was like, oh, I'll just do that after because I didn't want to go through, using my credit card and all that stuff while we were sitting there eating. I was like, I'll just wait till we get back to the hotel. And we got back too late for me to actually check in, so I missed my flight, and I had to figure something out, and I just had to buy a flight like that night. And instead of getting back to school early, which I was really worried about, it turns out I was totally fine. I thought that I was really messed up because I thought I could only miss like 2 classes, but this specific art class I had, the teacher was really okay with it. It was like nothing to her. It was like, basically, as long as you do it, it doesn't matter. So, fortunately, that didn't bite me in the butt, but I was so worried. Like, I missed that one class, and I knew I was going to be going to New York Comic Con. I was like, I might miss both these classes, and then something else might happen. And this is the class that happens, 2 times a week. So, it was like, I was really freaked out, and then I found out it was like no big deal. But I still missed the flight, so I had to buy another flight for the very next day, and instead of getting back home Monday morning at like 4, I was supposed to get back at like 4:30, and I was like, I'll be back super early in the morning. I can still go to sleep, and then I get up and I can still have like a normal day. Instead, I didn't get back home until 10 p.m. that night, and I left out. I think it was like maybe I left out at like 2 or 3, and I was in Salt Lake City, which is in Utah. So that's the furthest I've ever been in the country as well. So that's 3 hours. It's basically like being in California. It's 3 hours behind. So when I would take the flight and come back home, which is I'm in Michigan, it was like it was already like a 2 hour flight, almost a 3 hour flight by itself, and then I'm jumping over 3 hours, and it's like, man, basically I just lost like 7 hours because I had two flights because one went from Utah and basically went backwards. It didn't go to California. I think it went to Colorado. Yeah, Denver. So we basically went a little bit backwards, and then we went and came back here, and I was like, man, that really sucks, but it wasn't bad. It was pretty okay. The first flight was so empty. I actually got to move seats. Like there were so many empty seats on that first flight. People were just moving around like where they wanted to, so I got to sit by myself in like an exit row. So that was pretty nice. And then the second flight wasn't too bad either. I was like right behind first class, so there's always like a little bit of extra room. And I was able to figure out how to do like the Funko figures. I basically took my clothes out and like wrapped the boxes inside of I put two boxes in with my clothes, and then I had one more in my backpack, and I had like everything had clothes around it and stuff, and fortunately I was able to figure it all out, so that was good. And there was also a dog on the second flight because there was a cop and a canine dog, so that was kind of cool too, and I got a picture of that, which I believe might be on the Facebook page as well, and I'll put that up. But it was okay. Like the whole convention, I thought was totally fine until that last day, and it was just crappy working through the whole night. I missed getting to touch the Impala, and then of course missing my flight and paying extra money for another flight that didn't leave out until the middle of the day then on Monday instead of getting there super early, and I got back late. So a lot of crazy crap, and then that really threw me off for like the entire week. And then New York Comic Con came around, and that was okay. That was pretty cool. Like it was really big, and it was fun to see some of that stuff. Like there wasn't much that I could take pictures of because unfortunately with the con starting on Thursday and I was leaving Wednesday, I couldn't get pictures of certain stuff, and that really sucked because I saw this really cool Naruto stuff. They have like a Naruto live action movie coming out, which I didn't even know until I saw those clothes. I was like, they did that for some reason, so I actually looked it up, and there's a live action movie coming out, and I saw the clothing there. I was like, that looks really cool. I'd love to get a picture. And the guy was like, not until the con, and I was like, that sucks. And then while I was leaving, of course, they did a really awesome Back to the Future tribute at New York Comic Con because it's like the second biggest one after San Diego, and I believe New York is the very last Comic Con of the year. They were doing this big Back to the Future thing. They had the DeLorean there, but it still had the cover on it, so I couldn't actually see it. I couldn't get a picture of it. They had like a big Cafe 80s thing, which is from the second film. And I found out while I was there that Pepsi was doing they're doing like an exclusive version of the Pepsi bottle, which takes place in the movie. It's like a slender version. It's like really tall. It's almost like not a pint glass, but like one of those really big beer glasses that they have that's like really skinny. They're selling those, and they have like a limited run. And I couldn't purchase one of those before I was leaving because they weren't giving them away yet. So that sucked. I couldn't get a picture of the car. I got a picture of honestly, I got a picture of some banners and some open space, and like they had a big Jurassic World thing, and I got a picture of that as well. So once again, all of that is going to be on the Facebook page, so you guys can check that out there. But that wasn't too bad. That actually took place on my birthday, and like I did the birthday video then. And so, I worked like all my birthday and people were calling and stuff. And then I actually came back, and it was pretty normal. I didn't miss my flight, which I was really worried about because, like my boss knew that I was leaving. Although he forgot that I was leaving. So I was like, because I just randomly mentioned it to him. I was like, so what time do you think I should leave? Because it was New York. So I was like, I don't know what time I should leave because it's New York City. It might actually have to be a full hour before the flight was supposed to leave. But I went in there, and it was like nothing. Like I went in there, it literally took me like less than a minute, and I was like, oh, okay, well, there's nobody here. And I went in, and I was super early, and it was perfectly fine. But I was thinking, like, I'm going to be super late. I was freaking out because it was New York. And once again, just strolled right in. Plus, the flight was late. It was late by like half an hour or something. So it took like an extra hour for us to leave because it was the plane itself was late, and then we were sitting on the runway. I don't know how long because once I got on the plane, I just started falling asleep. So I don't know how long we were actually on the tarmac waiting to take off, but it seemed like we were there for like another half an hour or something. So it was like I was totally fine, but my boss had kind of forgotten that I was leaving, which was kind of funny. I was like it didn't even occur to me to mention. I just asked him like at the end of the night, and he like completely forgot. So that was kind of funny, but everything worked out fine there. And aside from the flight being late, which did really suck, because I was like, get back home once again, go straight back to doing more homework and stuff. It's like, well, the flight's late, and then I got home even later than I was intending to. So once again, that sucked. But ultimately, just conventions, crazy stuff constantly happening. I'm hoping that I can, like I said, sell those Funko figures. If you guys are randomly interested, you can let me know. I don't know. You can just let me know. Like that's all there is to it. But I enjoyed them. I thought it was pretty cool. I do kind of wish that the conventions were switched. I wish I could have stayed at New York Comic Con the whole time and only done Salt Lake City for 2 days, because New York I would have got the picture of the DeLorean. I wouldn't have been able to get one of the Pepsi things because you had to be dressed as Marty McFly, or you had to do like the Wild Gunman game, which is a game from the film. And those things I found out they're being sold for $20, and they were giving out like 1,200, and they made like 6,400. So I don't know what they're doing, like for the rest of the year. Like October 21st is coming up very soon. I don't know if it's just going to be like here they are, and you can just buy them in stores or what, but they have the exclusive Back to the Future Pepsi bottles coming out at some point, just like the Autolay shoes. I don't know when those are supposed to come out. They said they're actually making them this year, and it's like, I don't think that's happening because I was kind of waiting, and I just bought my jacket and the shoes for a cosplay that I'm going to do. It's the first one ever, so that'll be fun. I'm hoping they get here before the 21st, or at least on the 21st, because I'm going to see Back to the Future Part 2 at the theaters. And I would love to actually go with the full setup, because, of course, I got my hat, even though it looks really crappy compared to other ones, because I've worn it for a full year, and just rain and snow, and it's just cracked on the sides. Like, you can't see it as much when I'm, like, straightforward like this. But on the sides, it's, like, really cracked and stuff because of all the water and just just wearing it all the time. So I'm kind of thinking of getting a second one as well, but probably won't do that too soon. But that's pretty much it for story time. Just wanted to actually do this because there's always some random crap to talk about, like, you know, doing all that random stuff. I actually almost completely forgot this. Before I left for New York Comic Con, I almost got arrested at the airport because I, as a super nerd, have kunai, which are like ninja daggers. And I had no idea that they were in my backpack until, of course, they stopped me. And they didn't even stop me. I actually had them in my backpack. This probably makes it a million times worse. I put my stuff in, I got my hoodie, and I had my boarding pass. And I completely forgot my backpack. And I'm just walking, I'm like, alright, I gotta find the thing. And then right before I got to the gate, I was like, oh crap, I don't have my backpack on. And I ran back. So that probably made it a lot worse that there's unattended luggage and it has like daggers in it. So I ran back, and the woman asked me like, is that yours? I was like, yeah. And then she's like right in front of me, and then like just off to the side was the screen, and I looked over and I was like, oh crap. Fortunately, all that worked out fine. They did not arrest me, which was great, because that would have really, really sucked. They didn't arrest me, and I was able to keep the kunai because I was like, oh, I'll just, because I asked the lady, like, can I just, can I call someone and have them pick it up? Because I've had those things for like 3 or 4 years now, and I actually bought them from the guy that I work for. And I was like, I don't want to throw these away. I've had them for years. And she was like, unless the person is actually here, you'll have to check them. I was like, well, screw it, I'll just go check them. And I didn't do that because I was not paying $50 to check 2 kunai which I didn't even have a bag for. Like, it was just 2 kunai, and I was like, well, I need my backpack on me. So I was like, I just called my dad, and I was like, oh man, I hope he gets here in time, because once again, I was freaked out worrying that I'd miss my flight, because he had to like turn around and come back to the airport, because he was basically home. Like, fortunately, we were close to the airport. We lived like 10-15 minutes away, so he did make it on time, and I was able to hand him those. So I still have them, but I'm almost 100% sure that when I went to Salt Lake City, I had them in my backpack, and they didn't say anything, and that's why I didn't know, because I always take them out, and I was like, I haven't even seen these things for like 2 or 3 weeks, and I think it was because I'd put them in my backpack, and I think I forgot to take them out when I went to Salt Lake City, and then they didn't catch it, going both ways, I guess. But maybe I didn't. Maybe, it probably makes more sense that I just forgot I put them back in there. But I didn't remember seeing those things at all. And I'm kind of sure that I did go to Utah and got back on 2 separate flights, because I had connecting flights both ways. Well, I guess they only check you one time anyway, so the connecting flights don't really count. But, going both ways, I'm pretty sure I did have them in my backpack, because I don't remember like putting them back in my backpack after I got back from Salt Lake City, because it was only a week in between, and I'm like, I didn't have any time when I got back from Salt Lake City to do any of that extra stuff to just like let me get my kunai and put them in my backpack. All I did was like try to catch up on reviews and homework. So I'm pretty sure I went to Utah and came back, and they missed it going both ways, or they just didn't give a crap. Maybe, I don't know. But I'm pretty sure I had them in there when I went to Utah, and I had no idea. And I was just like, well, I don't have them, so I didn't need to look in my backpack. And plus, they're in a different spot. So, because normally I have them in like a little mesh thing where you can see straight into them. You can see them if you look into the backpack. And they weren't in there, and I was like, I had no idea that they were in there, and I was really freaked out. But fortunately, wasn't arrested. And I was also able, I totally lied to them. I was like, I'm not going to pay $50 to check these, but got them back home. I think I'm going to leave them out of my backpack for now. I'm not going out of town anytime soon, but I think I'm just going to leave them out for a bit. I always have them on me just because I like having them on me, just to have them in my backpack. But that was definitely something I was like, holy crap, I'm not going to make this flight. And fortunately, they were very cool about it, and they did not arrest me. And because the guy came up to me, he was like, like, you could be arrested for this stuff, but they are making a big deal out of it, so I'm not making a big deal. But just so you know, like, you could have easily been arrested for that. And I was like, thank goodness, because that would have really sucked to have missed another flight and have had some more extra wasted money. So that's the last little thing. Can't believe I forgot that one, the almost getting arrested stuff. But yeah, I definitely almost did, with just my nerdy little kunai in my backpack, which I completely forgot about. But that is the end of story time for this one. I mean, I'm not going out of town again. There's one more convention I'm going to, which is the one in my hometown, which is Youmacon. I'm just gonna be filming there, so there won't be a story time thing. I won't be working. It won't be any. There might be some weird stuff, and I might just have to do a specific video talking about it. Who knows? Because it's an anime convention, anything can happen. But that's kind of it. All the this is much longer than normal because everything's kind of just meshed all together from 2 separate conventions, which you wouldn't think in 2 days for New York Comic Con there would be enough stuff. It's like, freaking out about getting arrested for one, freaking out about getting back home and missing the flight's totally late anyway, and all this other stuff, not being able to get pictures of the stuff I wanted to see, even though it was really awesome, and you can easily look it up yourself now. I'm sure they have pictures all over the place. But that's it. Of course, if you guys have any comments at all, you can put them down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.